Yo, it's Sybil. This is my first time doing a live commentary video, and I just woke up. So if this shit is ass, oh well. I'm gonna start with my stat split. So first, the health stat. I mean, 160 is the meta for PvP. Like, between 160 and 180 is the ideal sweet spot for recovering your health. I like to have high ability uptime other than class ability because I just don't use my barricade very often on Behemoth. So I try and spec everything as close to 100 as I can per each exotic build. My set bonus is the Crystocrene 4-piece. I sat there farming the lost sectors for hours to get all of this, but it was absolutely worth it because the synergy with Frost Armor on Behemoth now, after the buff to harvest aspects, where each class gets a respective energy for getting hurt while you have Frost Armor. Without Whisper of Torment, by the way. So Titan gets melee energy, which means you have more Shiver Strike uptime. So having high melee stat on top of that, I basically always have one. The 2-piece bonus is also really nice. You make orbs pretty often without ever having to spec into Reaper, but I still do that anyways because it's nice to have. Quite often the first person to get my super, even in Rumble lobbies where I'm like 3rd or 4th place sometimes. Alright, let's get into the subclass. I was already talking about the synergy with Frost Armor, so of course my aspect of choice after Cryoclasm, that's a given. Never take this off unless you're spamming crystals, but I don't like that playstyle, so this is always on for me. Except for in PvE, I guess. Anyways, back to Tectonic Harvest. I like to use Glacier Nades to often shatter them just because, like, I'll get my Frost Armor stacks up to ×2 with the Crystocrene set bonus, and then I'll use an Ice Wall for 5 more stacks because of Rhyme. Shatter Nades are actually pretty good as well as Cold Snaps if you're using Diamond Lance or Howl of the Storm. Howl of the Storm is also really good because it gives you 2 Shiver Strike charges, but you would be sacrificing the melee uptime from Frost Armor. Alright, let's move on to the fragments. Other than Rhyme, because y'all already saw that. Whisper of Fissures. I like to do the good old slide through the crystal and punch combo. Almost every time I use it, it works, as long as they were touching the crystal or were very close to touching the wall. So this is nice to have, makes it much more consistent. This one, just more grenade uptime. I think it's a no-brainer, as you're shattering crystals all the time. Whisper of Torment. I already kind of touched on it earlier, but it just kind of plays into having more Frost Armor and getting your abilities back for getting hit. You get abilities for playing the game. It's pretty good. So, I mean, you get the melee energy for the buff that they did to the harvest aspects. Warlocks get grenade energy, so they don't even need Whisper of Torment. Hunters get class ability energy, and Titans get melee energy. So the uptime for your Shiver Strike is just absurd. So I decided to play into it with the grenade as well. I mean, Whisper of Shards and Whisper of Torment together with the amount of Frost Armor that I have up almost all the time. And then Whisper of Conduction, kind of a no-brainer. I don't want to be sitting there picking up my crystals manually, or Stasis Shards, I guess, whenever I shatter a wall, or, you know, kill someone after they got slowed by my Shiver Strike, because that was also a change. And of course, Rhyme. 7 stacks of Frost Armor, more damage resistance. Alright, so I'm gonna go over this build first. Blastwave Striders and Alethonym. It's one of my favorite combos. I have a lot of hours in Team Fortress 2 rocket jumping, so I was like, you know what? They added a primary ammo rocket jump grenade launcher, so I might as well make a build with it. be like gunboats from TF2 where I take less damage from the self-blast. The build itself is actually not really that viable. It's definitely more of a fun build, but once you get it rolling, super satisfying to get clips with. Super satisfying. This is my particular role in Fenutria. This is the spread shot hand cannon I pair it with most often. There are times where I will pair it with another primary weapon like Solemn Lie or whatever else I'm feeling in the moment if I'm not getting very much progress with Fenutria. You'll see me use Eager Edge all the time in my videos. This is my sort of choice right now. Even though I feel like this one whiffs a lot more than the Slammer ever did. Let's just go over the mods. This is pretty standard across almost all of my builds, minus the chest piece. This is the only build where I used 2 unflinching because, I mean, I'm using 2 primary weapons. I don't need a special. I mean, I'd keep this on in case I ever want to use special weapon with blast waves. Like, I'll take off Alethonym every now and then and still just use the boots because they're fun. Getting a streak and you just shiver strike someone. You get the stupid blast of missiles. But yeah, usually I'll switch out these other 2 mods for ammo generation mods. And then this is what I use for my artifact. If I'm in 6s or Rumble or whatever, these are what I like to use. Alright, let's move on to another build. This is my Saber build, my Praxic Blade build, I guess. Y'all have seen what this thing can do with strongholds. The damage resistance is crazy. I like to use defensive form. You just generate ammo for blocking. It's pretty stupid. Forceful Blade, no brainer. And for PvP, I like using Refraction Core because, I mean, slowing people just for reflecting a bullet back at them makes it a lot easier for them to get caught off guard, and, you know, you just lunge at them with Hyper Blade. Also, getting amplified on Behemoth is nice because you get the weird Cryoclasm, basically waveframe GL wave every time you slide if you have the speed boost from amplified. This is my Hush roll that I like to use. It's almost the God roll that I would want. I actually don't want Hipfire Grip, I want Impulse Amplifier. I actually have a Hushed Whisper with the roll that I really, really like right here. Got the max draw time compact arrow shaft. This is like the ultimate God roll for me. I just don't use it that often because it's in the kinetic slot. Forgot about the mods here. This is the ammo generation I was talking about. Same thing, artifact. This really never changes for PvP. This is my Lion Rampants build. This is the one where I debate on switching to Howl of the Storm again, just because, I mean, you'll be able to dodge multiple times in the air if you have multiple Shiver Strikes. It's pretty good. But Frost Armor is better to me, and I don't want to be sitting there for what I think is like 15 seconds or something like that to get up to ×5 for this. This one I swap between Cerberus and a bunch of other weapons. There's actually quite often I'll use Final Warning. Cringe, whatever, I don't care. But, I mean, the synergy is there. There's a reason Dunal is so successful with this. Dunal and Dark and all of them. I also swap between a few weapons, but almost always it's going to be a slick draw weapon. This is my current slick draw sniper of choice. My Velida feels pretty good. Alright, let's go over the mods. I did just switch it over to Final Warning, so of course everything's going to be Strand instead of whatever element. Alright, my Peacekeepers build. I feel like this is what a lot of the other Behemoth mains that watch my channel like to see the most is my Peacekeepers one. There's often time where I switch between a lot of SMGs. Right now my favorite is Terba and Dead Horse, but Fast Hawker is also really good, and I really like my old Unending Tempest. I really wish that the new Unending Tempest, the refresh that happened with Monument of Triumph, still rolled with Under Over. This is like the anti-Warlock Rift perk, because if they're taking healing from the Rift, it still counts as Overshield. So I can actually kill someone faster in a Rift than if they were not behind a barricade or in a rift or anything, like they were just normally playing. But yeah, this is my kinetic slick draw of choice. I still need to farm Iron Banner for a new one, because it can still roll with slick draw to my knowledge. So yeah. This is my Dead Horse roll that I swap to pretty often. Extended, Accurized, Lone Wolf, Target Lock. Do I wish it had Rangefinder? Maybe. Sorry, Rangefinder. Oh yeah, the mods. For Teraba, I used 2 solar loaders, because if you nom-load on Teraba, it just gets rid of half of the progress meter. I wish I had the good ornament for it, but that's okay. So this is my Icefall Mantle build. The amount of frost armor that you have up and how often you have it at max or around it with this build is just absurd. I've gotten so much hate mail from shotgun hand cannon clones. I mean, I say that and I'm using a shotgun and a hand cannon, both meta ones at that, but I mean, it is like the ultimate dueler build for Behemoth. Like, if you don't like SMGs, or the map just isn't working for you with SMGs, and you're getting your 1v1s or maybe 2v1s sometimes, Frost Armor does let you get away if you're good at running, combined with Cryoclasm, of course. Why do I have Mini Barricade? Oh wait, right, that's for the shorter cooldown for Icefalls. I know my class stat seems low, but I like using class font, and with how many orbs you generate with the 2-piece bonus from Krista Kreen, as well as Reaper, I mean, you just pop an Icefall barricade, I guess. Overshield? No. You get the frost armor from Icefall Mantle, pop that, you make 2 orbs on a kill if you have this part of the set bonus active at the same time as Reaper. So you get 2 armor charges, bumps my class stat up to like 70-ish, I think. I don't remember how much one of these makes. You just start a fight with the Icefall Mantles, and it just chains together. Like, once you start losing frost armor stacks, you just use an ice wall again, or wait to get up to ×5 with the set bonus again. By then, you'll probably have another Icefall Mantle, or another ice wall, so you can refresh your frost armor back to max, get into another hand cannon fight, win that, because you get the 3-tap and they don't. I mean, unless they're using a 120 or a 140 with precision instrument, but if you have ×7 frost armor, they still can't 3-tap you with a 140 with precision instrument. It's pretty good. On to the mods. And of course, Thorn is my favorite hand cannon. I used to have a lot of old videos up in Rumble with Dune Marchers and Behemoth running around farming with Thorn. This is my current Fellwinter Sly roll that I like to use. Always slick draw. It's funny how people are really getting onto slick draw now. After, you know, it was put on the best shotgun in the game. People are realizing that it's actually not that bad of a perk. This thing absolutely maps. It's ridiculous. Next build. No backup plans got buffed in the Monument of Triumph, where melee kills and shotgun kills will start like your health regen. If you're a knockout hater, but you still crave the health regeneration that they would get on a melee kill, use this. It is genuinely worth using. Also, it just refreshes the timer on whatever stack of frost armor you have again. So like if you had 1 second left on, let's say, frost armor times 4, it would refresh to the max time on frost armor times 4. I think it's like 6 seconds, maybe 7. I mean, this build is a little bit more lenient on whatever primary you want to use. I swap between a lot, as you can see. A lot of them are also in the vault. Alright, here's the mods. Now for my actual Cerberus build. I actually hadn't really used Actium War Rig with Cerberus up until very recently, and I think it's worth it because you get some airborne effectiveness from the chest piece because this is an auto rifle, and once you start chaining kills together, you get a very slight damage bonus per stack. Actium War Rig is actually kind of weird with how it stacks its damage. It's very similar to Worm Gods. Whenever you get more melee kills, it'll give you more stacks of Burning Fists. It'll just do more damage. Each stack goes down after a timer. It's kind of like how Frost Armor works now. Same thing with Actium War Rig, except each stack lasts a shorter amount of time than the other. I think it's like half a second per stack. So like, I think the first stack lasts roughly 5 to 7 seconds. I don't remember. The second stack would last half a second shorter. Third stack half a second shorter than the second stack, etc., etc. You can stack it really high, but I've only ever gotten it to, I think, times 4 in PvP. Anyways, it is worth running with Cerberus. I mean, the reload on this is very slow, even with a loader mod. So yeah, let's go over the mods. And finally, the most broken behemoth build in PvP right now. This helmet got buffed in the Monument of Triumph, where you only need to get rapid headshots with stasis weapons. You don't even need the barricade, although having the mini barricade will allow you to get a lance in 3 headshots for any weapon. If you're using a hand cannon, there's not very much synergy here, but if you are, you can still make lances behind the mini barricade. I think to make one without the mini barricade, you need 4 or 5 headshots. Also, this helmet, for some reason, the lances that it generates are half the time that they are supposed to be in PvP. Like, it has the PvE Diamond Lance cooldown. So normally, whenever you use the Diamond Lance aspect, it takes like 15 seconds or something like that to be able to generate another one. With this helmet, it is on a 7 or 8 second cooldown. It is ridiculous. I like to use it with Veiled Threat. This is my favorite stasis auto rifle. Taiwan Spire got changed to stasis. It's okay with this. It's also really good with 900 RPM SMGs. The majority of the time I have this helmet on, I'm using no morality. I'll put on Fast Hawker. The amount of lances that you have up, it is almost always on cooldown with Fast Hawker. It is just ridiculous. But every other class has their broken shit. So I'm gonna enjoy this while it lasts. If it ever gets nerfed, oh well. Probably won't, because, you know. Alright, over the mods. Here's my good old Slick Draw Fell Winners. If I'm using Fast Talker, I'll swap over to Velida or Cloud Strike. Yeah. Alright, those are my behemoth builds. If you want to see more clips, that's what I usually post. This is probably going to be one of my only live commentary videos that I'll ever do. Maybe if y'all want to see my other builds that I like to use too, I'll do something about that. But y'all gotta let me know. Alright, see y'all. Subscribble to Sybil.